to a little bit of technique in masking, which is a very useful tool, masking fluid. This is the incredible white mask by Graphex. You can purchase this as a unit, which I love. It usually will come into a 3-set kit like this, and you use this to do the painting with the masking fluid and this to lift the masking fluid off. I'll explain that to you shortly here, but it's just nice to have it as a unit. So what I've done here in one of my books is that I've given it an example. This is called Seeing the Light, of watercolor and an oil painting reference. Both, what I've done here is done the painting starting with a value sketch, understanding where the flow of light is going to be created. And I used masking fluid along the edges in this watercolor to create extreme light. I save the whites in the light. I'll take the masking fluid off and then develop the light, very much like what I've done here in this edge. To create dramatic light, sometimes it's a little easier to save the light. So what I've done here is to put a little section here to start with, and how I've done that is you take this off, make sure, because it will be dangerous if you're not careful, to make sure that lid is near you, so you'll put that back on again. Okay, so what you'll do is use one of your lesser expensive brushes. I'm going to show you. Put a little bit of soap. That's important. I'm from Arizona, Sedona, Arizona, and it's very hot sometimes and dry, not much humidity, and your brush will dry out very quickly. So you put soap on it first, dip it in the masking fluid, and as I said before, get some beautiful brush work with your fluid stroke. Oftentimes folks feel that they need to use a small little teeny brush to do this, but as you can imagine, it's hard to get a flowing stroke out of a teeny brush. So I do that also with a nice flowing brush. Again, quickly wash it out. And you shouldn't have any problem with it drying up. You don't use your expensive Legend series brushes for this. Another tip you might do, the problem with masking is air will be its problem as far as getting too much air in here. It'll start to dry up. Keep maybe a handful of marbles to your side, and keep, when the level of the masking fluid gets lower and lower, just keep adding marbles. Keep that elevated, and you won't have that much of a problem. Another last tip is to make sure you don't do this. What happens, you'll get bubbles in the masking fluid that pop, and then will create the nice stuff that's not fun. Okay, so when this dries, then you'll go ahead and proceed to do some nice brush work over it. I'm going to switch this over and show you a little bit of a beginning of this painting here. The masking fluid is right here. Take your tool, your brush work, come right next to that edge where that masking is. I want to show that dramatic drama of light like we have here. So, in order to do that, whoops, I'm going to save the light with the masking, load up my paint with Copper Kettle and Antwerp Blue, maybe a little Alizarin Crimson, or just roll that in like this. Try not to overwork your colors. Let them mingle on the paper, creating a nice temperature shift, and get that real rich dark in there. Temperature shift meaning warm to cool. And here, I might use Carr Yellow. What I've done here, it's very important for this technique to have two yellows. This is cadmium yellow and cadmium yellow. If I only have one yellow, what will happen is they'll get muddy quickly. So this yellow is by the greens and the blues to create my basic green. This is by the oranges to create my reds and oranges. The Carr yellow is I use on this side for my greens. Create a nice flow on this side of my Carr yellow. I use that for my oranges. You see, so primarily then, after this dries, and while I'm still getting a little action going on, I can take the masking off. Of course, this would have to be painted, but I'll just show you how this works. This is a rubber cement pickup. Just rubs right off. And as a result, that dark edge would show up, very much like what I have in this painting right here. So that edge would show up against that dark. So in other words, it's really fun because you can save your whites, have a lot of action going on, and have some fun with the flowing stroke, and then get back to just peeling off the masking fluid and get to that shape again. So try it out. One other thing, it's kind of fun, and then I'll wash this out. Sometimes I put a little bit of liquid soap on this. You can do some, to save that, you can do some nice line work. Fly fishing line, I love fly fishing. As the line goes across that distant mountain scene, get a nice stroke in there. And it's a great way to save a skinny light. So have fun with these strokes. Skinny, fat, just move.